I almost did not graduate with a first class, not because I was not capable, but because I made some avoidable mistakes and I do not regret them. If you are a builder, come closer, come and learn from my mistakes and grow. Everybody knows I graduated with a 4.55 CGPA out of 5. That was not because I started with a very low CGPA. No, I started with a very strong second class upper CGPA, a 4.2. First saw my GP, I was like, okay, great, you can still graduate the 4.8 or 4.85 or something thereabout, a strong first class. But guess what, there was a point when my CGPA dropped, not drastically, not terribly, but it dropped to the point that it shook me myself. I had a C. Like, not even in secondary school did I ever had a C. I got comfortable. I underestimated some certain courses that I felt like, oh, my brain can carry this one. I focused on being busy instead of being strategic. I rested when I was supposed to work smarter, and the result showed, like a C. For someone like me who valued excellence, smartness, that was a wake-up call for me. But before I woke up, I had to ask myself what really happened. Even the beginning of this semester, why didn't I finish with a perfect CGPA? I had to ask myself some certain questions, and these were the mistakes I noticed. Firstly, I noticed I was studying harder instead of smarter. There were some people that knew the pattern of lecturers because they had spoken to like senior colleagues and everything. Someone will tell them that, oh, this is how the lecturer set their questions. The past question of 3 years ago, they set it this year. Like 3 years ago, past questions are the questions they said. And me, I was just there, reading my books, buying textbooks, studying, and feeling like, oh, I've worked all the examples in this word. I've gotten what's even this man, Mr. Omole in West textbook. I've gotten everything. I've studied everything. I know all the example word for word. I know all the classwork. I know all the homework and everything. I've done everything. I've perfected myself in that area. Meanwhile, there were some certain group of people somewhere studying smarter, like solving that 3 years ago past question, solving everything just to make sure that they have all the ease during the exam. I was doing night class back to back. We just get to the exam one. Some people had it easy, and I was just there, not because like I don't know the question, I don't know the answers to the question, but because they already have an easy route. I won't even call it cheat code. They just knew their way. Meanwhile, I was just there studying harder. I wanted to have a first class. I wanted to do this. Second mistake I made was ignoring my weak courses and focusing on the strong ones. The courses I hated most, not like I hated it, but because it was purely written, were suck courses, like all this psychology, all this sociology and everything courses. I hated them because, not like I disliked them because they were purely written, and I know that, oh, I have to read and read word for word, because there are some certain lecturers that like their answers given back to them word for word as they have given you in the classroom. So like it stressed me a lot. So I'll just be like, oh, if I have A in ACC, A in ECN, A in this, A in philosophy, A in this, then I have B in this, it will perfect. Like I'll have a 4.8 CGPA. No, don't do that. Perfect everything, so that even if you flop or anything happen during the exam, that thing that has happened will give room for that B and not your weak course. Because if you already say that, okay, this is my weak course, I will have B, and something else happen again, that's another B, making 2 B's, whereas you have planned for what? Just 1 B. Another mistake I noticed I made was that I did not learn how to calculate CGPA as soon as I could. Immediately I got to university, I was supposed to learn from people that come and teach me how to calculate CGPA. But no, I was making friends, I was networking, I was doing all those kind of things. The first thing you should do when you get to university, learn how to calculate CGPA. See, I was just doing my own abracadabra, and I was feeling like, okay, yes, I was with a strong first class, I was with a this, I was with a that. I knew that I was not the best graduate student, but I was so sure that I was with a strong first class until someone busted my bubbles and told me that, what am I calculating? My jaw dropped, because I was like, I could vouch for myself that no, I was doing so well, because everything was A and B. I did not know that B self had its own impact on CGPA. When I had a C, I was like, no, I don't think this thing is correct, because whatever I'm calculating can never be correct. And I went to meet a senior colleague. Please come and teach me how to calculate a CGPA. He taught me. I went back and calculated my CGPA. I saw my CGPA. I shouted. I screamed that day in my room. I was like, no, this can never be my CGPA. This person has taught me rubbish. I went to meet the second senior colleague. The same thing. That was when I believed that, okay, yes, let me just accept this is my CGPA. Let me look for a way to work on myself and work on this CGPA. Instead of screaming up and down and shouting, let me just accept my fate. And that was it. That mistake I made was that I relied heavily on self-motivation. I ignored group structure. You know, a group where you have a certain people that have certain dreams. Like, you guys have a common goal dreams, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to achieve that, I want to do this. I ignored that. I was like, okay, because I found it hard at the beginning of my schooling to connect with people so deeply that we start to talk about, oh, this is what I want to become. But I just made sure that, okay, this is what I wanted and this is what I will get. So do not try to make that mistake. Connect with people that are on the same level, the same dreamers, the same builders as you are. The last but important mistake that I made was that when I first entered school, you know, part one was soft and everything. You'll be in the classroom, but whenever you're in that classroom and you know whatever the lecturer is teaching, you just log off, like your system log off automatically. You are not active, you are just there in the class for being there sake or maybe wanting to mark attendance and everything, not missing out on attendance, because you know attendance adds to your mark and everything. Yeah, that, you know, while I was growing up in secondary school, I had the best of the best of the best financial accounting teacher. Like, I can boast of that man at anywhere, at any point, and at any given time. Like, that man was the best. He taught me everything. But little did I know that that man saw me as a kid, as a growing kid that was just diligent, smart, excellent, and everything. So he made me know some certain things. Little did I know that he would have left out some information that were very important, not because he did that unknowingly. He did it knowingly. Okay, I was going to university to still study accounting and all these things, I'll get to know them. But me, when I get to class and lecturer is already teaching debit side, credit side, and I know that I'm very grounded in all those kind of things, my system will just log off. I will not pay attention, not because I'll be playing in class, but I'll just sit down and be looking at lecturer and just be writing notes and be writing notes. I will not be active. But one thing I did not understand was that there were still some important information my secondary school teacher did not mention, and this lecturer was going to mention in class. And I'll get to exam, I'll start looking for X. Those were some of the avoidable mistakes I made that almost cost me a first class. If you ask me, what were the things I did differently? Firstly, I started tracking my academic performance like an audit. If they drop one course result like this, I'll assume the rest. I'm already calculating my GP, calculating my CGPA, and praying that, oh, this thing is going to be A and not C anymore. Another thing I did differently was that at the beginning of each semester, I'm already identifying my weakest courses, and I'm already attacking them like an army attacking bandits. You know, I'm already saying this course of me and you today inside the same shokoto. Studied past questions strategically. Past questions were not past questions for me. They were like present questions and tackling questions for me. I'll go and ask a senior, who are the lecturers that are teaching these courses? Or I'll ask my course rep, who are the lecturers that are taking these courses this semester? They tell me, I'll find out about that lecturer. How does this lecturer do? Do I have to attend the classes and pay serious attention to them? Do I have to attend all their classes? What will happen if I miss a class, or if I miss a test, or if I miss attendance? Does this lecturer take attendance seriously? I'll make sure I found everything about that lecturer, and I'll make sure like I pen them down in order to know how to tackle that lecturer. I created a simple weekly review system. Like, I have what I was supposed to do, how I did them, and the difference between what I was supposed to do and how I did them. And I'll make sure that the next week I'm correcting that thing. And that is based on, you know, your lecturers, the courses, the tests, the attendance, and everything that I was supposed to do that week pertaining to classes. That's to tell you that I held myself accountable. I was no longer hoping for, oh, first class. I was just doing what? I was just building myself, and I was building the first class. If you ask me, what is the bigger lesson here? I will tell you, excellence is really about intelligence. It is really about what is here, but it is about how you use what is here. It is about correction, how you correct yourself after seeing your mistake and not sliding your mistakes. Because the difference between almost and achieved is usually the adjustment. That's why I always tell you people, I believe in auditing everything: your habits, your finances, your life, your study pattern, yourself, your goal. Because what you don't review will surely reduce. So builders, what area of your life need an audit right now? I'm the social auditor.